Hi everyone, it's Shari for SimonsStamp.com, and I have a really fun project for you using one of my addiction type things, and that's one of those Starbucks jars. And I have used some papers and some flowers to decorate this. So to start out, you want to have a clean jar. I wash mine and dry it up really well. You could use any jar, but I thought these were really nice for a vase. So I have some torn papers here just from book text, and I also have some tissue paper that I'm going to put on as a second coating. I'll be using my soft gloss gel. You can use a matte gel if you want. I'm kind of running low on my matte gel, and also a really nice stiff paintbrush. So to start off, you're going to go ahead and open up your jar. I'm just going to dip my brush right into the gel and go ahead and start spreading it onto the glass. My main goal right now is to cover up this label here on the front. So I've torn up my book text. I'm also not going to worry about the direction of my book text. I don't want everything to go the same. Some of it will be sideways, some of it will be upside down. So I'm just going to start just adding layers of book text. So when I put this down, I put the gel medium down first, put the paper down, and then I run my paintbrush over the paper to smooth it out. I'm not going to really worry about any wrinkles on this. I think that'll give it some character. Plus later I'll be adding wrinkles with the tissue paper. Also, when covering a jar like this, if you kind of look at the size of the papers that I've torn up, this really works well through the curves of the bottle, since the bottle's not completely square and not completely round. It has the curved up towards the top of it. So I'm going to just continue adding my papers until I have the entire thing covered, and I'll give the gel medium a chance to dry a bit. Here's how we're looking so far. So I have not gone to the bottom of the jar, and I've stayed under that one ring on the top. So the bottom's kind of a little distressed looking, and it's fairly dry. It's still a little bit tacky, but I'm going to go ahead and start using my tissue paper now. And I really like to use the tissue paper because it diffuses out the words, just in case you have text that you're not quite sure about, depending on the books that you have. And it just kind of lightens everything up. As books get older, they kind of yellow a little bit, and the white tissue paper will help whiten that up. So if you notice, when I lay the tissue paper down, I'm kind of crinkling it up a little bit with my fingers, and then I go ahead and add the medium on top of it with the brush. And this creates all those little wrinkles that I was talking about earlier, and it just kind of gives me a really unique look and a nice texture. I'll be covering most of the jar with the tissue paper. I'll leave some little open areas where the actual book text will show through, and this will look kind of distressed in some areas and not in others. And then once I have all of the tissue paper down, I'm going to give it a good coat of my gel medium, and I'm going to let that dry really, really well. My jar is completely dry, and that gloss gel gave it a really nice finish. Next, I want to add some twine around the top, and this will just kind of finish off that top edge. And I just have my regular Hemtique twine, and I'm also going to use some matte gel for this. I want to keep the twine in its natural state, so it's kind of a matte finish itself. So I'll just go ahead and start putting on some of the matte gel around that top edge, just under that lip. And I can go ahead and start winding my twine around, and I'm left-handed, so I go this way. So if you're right-handed, you might want to start going from the right. So I'm holding it with my thumb. Sorry, I'm a little off screen there. Just holding down that first piece with my thumb, and then you can go ahead and start twisting the bottle around and wrapping that twine around. And I'll grab more matte medium and add it just underneath that twine, about 4 places around the bottle as I start wrapping it. But once that starts to grab hold, you're able to go ahead and start really, really winding it a little bit quicker. While your gel medium is still wet, you may want to go ahead and push that twine up towards that lip of the bottle as you work it. And I kind of use my fingernail and just kind of scoot it up. That way all the little twine lines will be nice and close together. And then you can just continue on adding more gel medium and keep wrapping it down to wherever you like to on your bottle. So I've wrapped my twine a little over 1 inch down on that lip, and I also had this really cool knot that was kind of naturally there, and I just went with it. And so the next thing I have done is just snipped off the end of that twine, added a little bit more matte medium, and now I'm just going to smooth that out with my finger.
The thickness of this matte medium really works well to hold this in place while it's drying. And now I'll start decorating this with some of my Prima flowers. So I like to use my matte medium and just kind of put it on the base of that flower, and you can go ahead and press that down. I'll put a couple down at once and then let those dry a little bit, or let that matte medium kind of set in a little bit before I start adding more. When I'm adding my flowers, I like to add a cluster of 3. So I'll have 3 main flowers on this jar, and I kind of stagger them so that they'll kind of look like a nice little cluster. While my flowers are drying, I wanted to show you how I do a double bow. So I loop this around twice and just kind of pinch that in the center. And then I go ahead and snip off a long length. And then I snip off another long length of this. And this is kind of tricky. You have to use your fingers really, really well. And I'm also going to use my teeth in here. But I'm pinching that right in that center. I'm tying this around that center, and I'm just doing a regular knot. And now I'm grabbing it with my teeth so I can tighten it up a little bit. And then I go ahead and pull that tight, and that gives me a really cute double bow that I can add to my flowers. To add my bow, I'm just going to go ahead and dip my finger into my matte medium here, and I'm just putting it to the center knot that I have. And I've added a nice amount, and I'm just going to slide this in between these flowers here a little bit. And you can use your tweezers or some sort of pokey tool or something to push that in. And now I'm just going to continue adding on some smaller flowers to create kind of a spray. So I'm kind of alternating colors as I go. I have a really dark piece at the bottom, so I'll add some darker pieces at the top of those other flowers. And here's a final look at my vase and my arrangement of my Prima flowers with the little twine bow sitting in between. And it looks really nice once you go ahead and put some flowers in it. I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial on how to do a DIY decorative glass jar, and as always, thanks for watching.